Hello again, my amazing first grade artists. This week we are finishing up our Native American Parfleche pouches. Now, I know we started this project a couple of weeks ago, so it might be hard to remember exactly what this is yet. But remember, a couple weeks ago, the only thing we did was sew on our string or our yarn and our whip stitch and add our flap to the top. This week, we're going to be looking at some Native American symbols to help draw and design on our pouches. Now, before I get too far, I want to go ahead and read our learning target again, my friends. So here I go. I can create cultural art. So remember, the culture that we are learning about, Native Americans, also known as indigenous. These are the different tribes that lived here in the U.S. before we did. Some of those tribes included the Potawatomi, the Oconomowoc, the Ojibwe, Winnebago. All of those were tribes here in just our state, Wisconsin. But there were many, many different tribes all across the entire U.S. Now, the reason we are celebrating Native Americans and learning about their culture through art is because of Indigenous Peoples Day, and that happened on October 12th, my friends. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and find out what art materials we need to finish up our project today. So my artists, here are the things that we need to finish up our Native American pouches today. The first thing you need is obviously your pouch, which you should have, again, cut that flap and done our whip stitch up the side so you have a handle at the top. Again, as always, it's okay if it does not look exactly like mine. I just ask you try your best and make it work for you, okay? We obviously need a pencil to help draw some of our symbols. And I have crayons and markers, but you only need to pick one to add color to your symbols. So decide what you want, either crayons or markers. I would not recommend paint or colored pencils for this project, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and set these off to the side for a moment. As always, if you need to pause the video to go grab what you need, you can, my friends. So I'm going to show you today, my friends, some different Native American symbols that I personally collected from many different tribes. And I'm very sorry I could not give this handout to you, friends. I was in a bit of a rush when I put together our first quarter art folders. But I'm going to leave these here for a moment, and I'm going to show them again in the video so you can pause it. Let's take a look at some of these different symbols. And as you can see below them, they say what the symbol means. So this symbol, in either one or many different Native American tribes, stands for happy. And I collected many different symbols, trying to find common names, such as different tribes called this rain, and different tribes called that a teepee. So these are similar among a few tribes, but they are not the same in every tribe, my friends, because every tribe actually spoke different languages. And they would use these pictures as a way to communicate with each other. That way they could help understand one another a little bit better. And that's the beauty of art, my friends, because we can use art to also communicate with people who maybe don't speak the same languages as well. So now that I've shown you these again, I'm going to show them again in a little bit here. I'm going to just slide them off to the side for a moment and pull back out my pouch. Now, I know some of my friends, you got a bit eager and you might have already decorated your pouch. What I want those friends to do is just flip their pouch over and try some of these symbols on the back side, okay? And if you have filled up the back side as well, my friends, then you can just practice and draw some symbols maybe on a white piece of paper or on a dry erase board and send me pictures of those with your pouch as well, okay? But here's our goal today, my friends. We're going to include at least 5 different symbols that represent something about us or who we are. So, as an example, my friends, one of the things that I wanted to put on my pouch was a rainbow, because that's one of the things that I really love. So maybe in the middle here, I'll go ahead and draw my rainbow, and I'll break it down as always into different lines and different shapes. So there's a curved kind of arch line, and at the bottom of those curves, there's also a straight line. Now, I want to follow these pictures pretty closely, my friends. I want to try to make them as close as I can so we can be respectful of these cultures. So I could potentially add more colors to my rainbow, because I know I like a rainbow that has 6 colors. But for today, out of respect, I'm going to try to keep my symbol the same as theirs. So maybe another kind of thing that I might add is the symbol for happiness that is up here, because rainbows are something that make me feel pretty happy. So maybe I'll start with that circle in the center, and then it has a bigger circle around it, and then there's 2 lines that come up, 2 lines that come down, and 2 lines off to each side. Maybe another thing that I might add is the moon, because I'm normally a very late night kind of person. I really like staying up late. I'm not a morning person. Mornings are really, really tough for me unless I have a lot of really good coffee. So maybe I'll add a moon on to talk about the fact that I like being up at night. And then maybe I'll also even add this dancing person, because I really enjoy both music and dancing and singing a little bit. So maybe I'll go ahead and draw that person starting with their head. And then there's a line, comes down to these arms. There's a triangle kind of shape, and then it comes down to legs that are bending to show that that person is dancing. Look at that dancing person. And if you can't see yet, my friends, I'm going to hold them a little bit closer so you can see in a moment, okay? All right, let's take a look. I have 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 symbols, so I need to add at least one more, my friends. So I'm going to take a good look. I don't see any cat symbols, so I can't draw a cat. That would definitely be my favorite animal. So maybe instead of picking another symbol that represents me, maybe I could pick a symbol that I like. For example, I kind of find this homecoming symbol to be kind of pretty. And whereas maybe homecoming doesn't always fit me because I've moved away from my home, maybe I can think about home and my family and use that as a symbol as well. So the fact that I'm thinking about my family and my home. I've got one more empty spot here, so maybe I might even put a 6th symbol. I really kind of like the blossom or flower symbol as well. That one looks fun. So I'll add my circle and a couple of straight lines, just like that symbol. Because again, we want to be respectful and show the symbol as it is. So here are my different symbols that I added. I'll hold them closer so you friends can see. Again, I want you friends, though, to pick symbols that are about you. I want to know about you using these different symbols. And I'll pull these forward again so you can see all of the different symbols, my friends. And again, if you need to pause the video here to look at these symbols and know which ones you want to draw, then you can, my friends, okay? So take a good look at them and decide what 5 or more you might want to try. I'm going to go ahead, though, and start showing our next step. So again, if you need to pause it, please do. Otherwise, I'm going to move these off to the side and pull my pouch back in front of me because there's one last step, my friends. Right now, our symbols are kind of boring. They could use some color to them. So again, you can use either crayons or markers for this step. I think I'm going to use my markers just so my colors pop out a little bit more. So maybe I'll start with my flower over here, and I'll make it a nice red flower. Trace it up. And I could even use my crayons as well. I could find maybe one of my purple pink kind of ones, and I could color inside my flower a little bit as well, just to add a little bit more color. So I'm going to go ahead now, my friends. I'm going to speed this next part up, and I'm going to finish coloring in all my different Native American symbols that I picked, so you can see how it'll look when I'm finished. So here is my finished Native American Parfleche pouch, my friends. Again, I have that nice long string so I can wear it. I've got at least 5 or more Native American symbols that talk about things that are about me or things that I like. And I have added color to them, or at least traced them to make them look nice and dark. Because if you just leave them in pencil, my friends, I won't be able to see the symbols on your pouch when you take your picture. Now, my artists, as a fun way to take a picture with this pouch this week, if you would like to just leave it flat on your table, you can, or artists can also put this on their shoulder and wear their pouch and show it that way. But remember, I want to be able to see your sewing and your 5 or more different symbols. And if you'd like to post a picture in Artsonia as well, my friends, I'd love to see some more artwork there as well. For now, my artists, it's time for me to say goodbye. I'll see you during our live lessons. And as always, artists, have fun creating.